Yoga industry is competing with another industry, and it's the fitness industry. And we don't ever should compete with a fitness industry. It's hard to find community that really allows you to be the way you are. Like, society is so, you have to always fit in the box of things. Like, when you have a community, especially when it's connected to yoga, that's where you're just like, no, there's no box. I can be who I am fully, and I don't need to be anybody else.
Welcome, beautiful souls, to another heart-led episode of Liberate Your Bliss. I'm your host, Chelsea, and today we're exploring the sacred intersection of yoga, healing, and the power of truly embodied teaching. I'm joined by one of my dear friends, the incredible Theresa, one of the shareholders at the Path at Bali, and a deeply rooted, heart-centered yoga teacher whose life and practice are one and the same. In this soulful conversation, we dive into how yoga has transformed her life and the importance of community and safe spaces, especially for expats that are traveling and trying to find their home. And truly what it means to be an embodied teacher in today's world where there's so many people that are coaches and mentors and teachers. So in this episode, you'll learn why embodied teaching creates deeper, more transformative healing experiences, how building conscious community supports long-term well-being and resilience, the powerful intentions behind our brand new healing shala at the Path, which is a space devoted now entirely to therapeutic and transformative practices. This new shala is especially exciting because it brings us to 3 sacred spaces at the Path, 2 yoga shalas and 1 healing, giving you even more ways to connect, release, and come home to yourself. This space will host contrast therapy, kundalini sessions, hypnotherapy, inner child healing, and more. As for me, I'll be offering my regular moon healings, hypnotherapy, and inner child work, along with kundalini classes and some upcoming workshops like shamanic Reiki level 1 training and our new women's circle, Remembering Her, a sacred journey of heart healing, cacao, and sisterhood. And if you're planning a trip to Bali, the Path is hands down one of the most powerful yoga and healing venues in Canggu. I would say in Bali too. It's truly a must-visit sanctuary for transformation. So take a breath, settle in, and let's step into this beautiful conversation with Theresa. Thank you so much for coming on. I've been wanting to have you on here for so long. Theresa is one of the shareholders at the Path, and she is doing an incredible job at building community, including doing these excellent events down at Soul Rooftop, where she's doing yoga there by the ocean, and really trying to build a community there. And I'd love to know what makes that's so important for you.
Hi, Chelsea. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Honestly, like, that's the first thing. I'm like feeling very privileged to share here. What truly makes it important that I always have had a strong feeling that I want people to feel heard and seen. Like, that's such a life mission for me, that I want people feel included in anything they do, and they feel like a sense of belonging. Because in the end, like, my upbringing wasn't always like the easiest, and I always felt like whenever I grow up, I want to give people the feeling that they're loved and that they're safe and that they feel a belonging to something, and they can be really themselves authentically.
So turning pain into purpose. So growing up for you, what was it like in Germany? Was there not a sense of community there?
Probably even now, as you say, it's like giving me a little reflection, because we did, as a child, I did have a big community within children. Like, you know, it was actually beautiful. Like, I feel also very privileged to grow up in a time where we didn't have the smartphones and you had to knock on the door and be like, is Theresa at home?
Yeah, those days were the best.
I know, right? So yeah, I grew up in these days, and I actually really loved them. So I had a big community from children perspective, and that was also my anchor point. And I think maybe that's also a reason why I'm now, as an adult, want to create these spaces for adults as an anchor point, because in the end of the day, being an adult is really not always easy. I see it now ourselves. Like, we're still, you know, when you're 15 years old, you're like, when I am 30, I am. And then you're 30 and like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm still the mind of 15. Like, I mean, you grow, but your heart stays the same, right? Yeah. So now, as an adult, I feel, especially being an adult, it's just harder, you know, because people break away, people get together, it's hard to find community that really allows you to be the way you are. Like, society is so, you know, you have to always fit in the box of things. Like, you have to fit in the corporate world box, you have to fit in the family box, you have to fit in any box, right? But when you have a community, especially when it's connected to yoga and to what we do here in the path, or what I love to do, creating these spaces, that's where you're just like, no, there is no box. I can be who I am fully, and I don't need to be anybody else.
I love that. And I think what's really cool is you think back to being an inner child. Like, we didn't really wear masks then. We were just ourselves, right? We were silly and playful and creative. And I think we forget how beautiful that essence is, that inner child essence of who we were. And then we grow up, and then, around middle school, I would say, it's like, oh, I have to be cool. Oh, I have to dress a certain way. I have to look a certain way. My hair has to look a certain way. And you start to play the roles. And then depending on how your parents are raising you, maybe you have to be the good kid. Maybe you got to be the naughty kid. However it is to get attention, right? And you start to define yourself as these roles. And then I feel like by the end of playing all those parts, like, I was so exhausted in America playing so many roles, the daughter, the sister, the friend, the party girl, the corporate girl. I was exhausted, and I didn't even know who I was authentically. So I find sometimes that when we foster and create a space for people to come in and be themselves, it's almost like returning back to that childlike place, like you said.
And I think also, for me at least, if you really think who really cares, right? Who really cares about you? Like, this is another thing. Our minds are so busy thinking that everybody cares about us in one way or another, like in a good way or in a bad way. Like, in a bad way, I mean that, people, like, you're constantly busy thinking what other people think about the way you look, because in the end, nobody cares. And I think from another way, like what you said now, playing all these different roles, like, it's the space I want to fit in. But how many people do really generally care, right? Like, or is it just another you're in and out role you're playing, and people don't really care? And I feel that's another big part. If you have a real community with real people being vulnerable, being authentically themselves, they actually care. And they're going to reach out to you when you not show up, and they're going to be like, hey, you okay? And I think that's the difference as well.
Yeah, and I think society, the program of the way that the world is now, we don't live near our families, everybody moves and scatters. There's not villages. Like here in Bali, they are born in the same house, and unless they're married into another family, they live in that village for life. Yeah. With community and connection. When people are sick, they show up and they have all these celebrations and all of these ceremonies, and it's so beautiful to me, the community that they make. Why has it gotten so far from that in the Western world, where it's like every man for themselves,
The first thing that comes to me is the pressure. I mean, I'm not Balinese, so I cannot speak for them. But I think in Western world, the pressure is very high. As soon as you go from kindergarten towards school, the pressure is high, because then it's like, okay, you have to have great marks, you have to go into get like another better school, and you have to do that job, and so you're constantly in a space of delivering. So it feels like, actually, as a child, like my mother said something. She always said, well, I can help you. You have to be in there alone. Like, you have to write that test alone. So I think the Western world is so specific in pressure to deliver, because value and productivity equals success. So as more productive I am, as more value I feel I get or have. And I think that's what's a big disease in nowadays society.
Well, and what a way to cripple society, to make your worth based on your achievement, because that's a never-ending mountain that we're going to climb. Even now with building business and building community, every day, and I know you're going to understand this, there's an endless amount of things I need to get done in order to continue to build what I'm building and my dream. That's never going to stop. So if your worth is dependent on your productivity, where does the receptivity come in? And it's I am loved when I work hard. I am loved when I perform. I'm loved when I achieve. I'm loved when I do good. What about I'm just loved for who the fuck I am, just for showing up, and that's enough. And I think we're so far from that over there. And the whole world, when I went home, it was like everyone was moving 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I was like, where are we rushing to? The days are flying by like that. Nothing's really, there's no connection. It's just go, 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 pass out, fight or flight all day long. And then I come back here, I got off the plane and I was just like, oh my God.
It's integration that's missing. There is no integration. And I think that's also a big part of, like, I say that a lot in when I teach any restorative practices. And I think because they're just so valuable, you know, like people, like, I don't even, like, yes, call it a yin class, but what I really do is I just want to let people chill the hell out. I don't even, it's not about like any poses for me, but really allow the nervous system to rest and to integrate, because we get so much delivered all the time. Like literally we have so much input every single time, every single day, and we just keep on going and we don't have time to integrate. And so we go up and then we shut down, and then we go up and we shut down. So the integration part is missing, and that's coming back to the Balinese. Yeah, what are they doing? They have their rest, they have their sleep, they have like their they have their lunch siesta, like,
right,
you know, like, right, they chill out, right?
They chill out,
and right, they do. So in one way or another, I think integration of our events will ultimately lead also to more clarity, more like, the more I integrate what I go through every single day, the more I can have clarity, the more I can act from a space of connection and inner guidance, rather than being overstimulated and again keep on going from external sources or values, you know.
Right. And our intuition comes from the feminine. It's the yin. That's when we are in stillness, we can receive that guidance. We're not going to receive that guidance running around trying to catch our own tail all day, you know, which is why the beautiful part about, and I think with yin yoga and what you're doing with the restorative work, is bringing the body into a place where it knows how to heal itself. We don't need medication. We can go into a class that's deeply restorative, like a yin yoga or a Reiki healing class or things that's going to drop you into a deeper state. And you can leave feeling like you had 8 hours of sleep in 1 hour. It's like a sound bath. So it doesn't have to be so hard. I think that's the big message that I think you and I really align on. So when I first started healing, I was doing all the cathartic, Kundalini activation, big releases, and I still think there's a time and place for that. But what I was noticing was people weren't getting better. They were coming back and the energy field was exactly the same. And I was like, so what is happening here? Are we just re-traumatizing the nervous system and going and pushing, when in reality, they just need to deeply sit in stillness and let the body, you know, restore itself? And in yoga, everybody's doing power yoga and sculpt, and they've really kind of taken that beauty. And like, I remember going to a class and I'm like, there's not even like Shavasana in this class. It was just, you know, this big, crazy weightlifting yoga sculpt. Where's the stillness, right? Do you feel that that is a challenge in society, to be different or to be restorative in a world that's so busy? Because your classes are full all the time, so people are definitely loving it.
Yes, you know what's interesting? I had a conversation with, I don't remember who it was. It's not too long ago, with another teacher, and we were talking about that our industry, yoga industry, is competing with another industry, and it's the fitness industry. And we don't ever should compete with a fitness industry, right?
It's like, not the same.
It's not the same. We're having complete different values. Like, we try to do a complete different thing. But then I talked to a Pilates instructor, and it was really interesting because they are actually doing the same thing, like getting off topic, but kind of coming back full circle in a moment, because they do the same thing. They go, and Pilates was meant to be low intensity, low impact, right? That what it's meant to be. Now we are all about getting that booty in shape and that core going, right? But it's not actually. And so, like, people are ultimately drawn to spaces where they feel they get that out, and then the next thing can come. So for me, in my work, I love to be also like active, and I love to teach vinyasa, but I feel like it's the place where you start and then you transition into the yin. Because once energy is moved, it can integrate and it can flow into stillness, right? Because that's also the thing. Like I see people coming from this craziness of life to a restorative class, and then they're like, okay, now I have to close down my eyes and chill out. Okay, but right? So that's also a proven thing for me, at least, as in observations of many people, that you need to move energy to then integrate and then go to rest. And that's the most beautiful thing you can ever do to yourself. So you think you're coming for the workout aspect when you come to my vinyasa classes, but you will end up going so much deeper, because I always feel like I sell you this hidden package.
Well,
I sell you the package of, we're gonna move and we're gonna do this, but actually inside is like so much more.
So I've actually shifted my classes now, like inner child somatic energy healing. The somatics is about 20 minutes, and then it's an hour and 20 minutes of deep receiving. But you're so right, because I think the way that the world is wired, it's so fast and the brain is moving and everyone's so stuck in their heads that getting them into the body to receive from source is near impossible if the mind is chaotically going. So if you're coming from a busy day and then you're coming into a meditation class, you're going to be like, what am I doing here, right? It's like levitating under a waterfall.
For me, it's very interesting, because why I love yoga so much is also because all the ancient texts have so much wisdom. Like, there is a concept, it's called the gunas. And for me, it goes a little hand in hand now with the nervous system. But basically, we talk about the gunas, that there is rajas energy. This is the stimulating energy, okay? Then there is tamas. Tamas is like flatline energy, darkness energy, like, you can imagine it this way. And then there is sattva. Sattva energy is peace. Sattva energy is contentment. So if you look from a wave perspective, you would be like rajas, tamas flatline, and sattva is this beautiful wave, almost as you breathe, right? So what we have, and this is why I'm so deeply in love with yoga and the practice, not only physical, but also the philosophical part, because truly there are people, they understood all these centuries ago already, look, this is what's going on energetically. This is where you want to go to shift as much as you can to sattva, but you're so in rajas, you're so in tamas. And what happens nowadays is we are continuously in a yo-yo effect between rajas and tamas. So gunas you can influence, so energy cannot not be shared, right? And you can, that's the beautiful concept of it, you actually can influence these gunas, okay? So you can, with anything you do, with the coffee you drink, with the food you eat, with the place you surround yourself with, that's how you influence these energy centers, or not centers, but these energy forces around you and within you. So, for example, we're so, oh my God, I keep on going to the work and then you feel, oh my God, I'm getting tired. The first thing you're gonna do, get this coffee back in your system, right? Then you're like having on your lunch break, instead of going for some really nutritious meal, no, you're gonna end up getting that pizza quickly while you scroll on your phone, So and then all these days, you're gonna end up in the end of the day in this flat line on the couch, getting hit by Netflix, and you're gonna fall asleep with your glass of wine. That you're gonna wake up in the morning, get your coffee back in. So you're gonna continuously go back and forth.
Polarity, do.
Exactly.
Right? And it's the yin, and it's like, I think people keep saying it. I think what we end up doing is we go so fully into the do, and then we don't even rest. Like, most people will be like, oh, I took the day off because I was so sick. The way that the world is, it's so productive. There's no rest, and we only allow ourselves to rest when we fucking flatline, when we're sick. When really bad stuff happens. And it's like, that's why we need to come into balance and recognize that the system that we're working through, which we can't change, I'm not president of the United States, I can't go and change this system, but I can change the way that I work in it. I can pull myself out of the crazy and intentionally step into restorative places so that I can get my nervous system back to a healed place.
What's the big teaching is that we have a mentality, or at least I can observe this, we have this all or nothing mentality. Have you ever realized that? So we are either this or we are that, right? But every decision we are making, it influences on a broader spectrum. So for example, instead of, there are people, they cannot escape the place where they live, right? That's just a matter of fact, and that's okay. right? But they can, you can introduce, okay, instead of being on my phone first thing in the morning, I'm gonna sit down, close my eyes for 10 minutes and go inwards and do a meditation, right? I can make myself feel good by eating something healthy, by having a green juice instead of a Coke Zero. Like, this is also how you influence energy that actually gives you time to integrate, and you end up automatically in a more nutritious place. And from there, you have more clarity because there is no lens that is blurred. So, yeah.
It's fascinating. And like even exchanging like little things. It's not like you don't go from having 5 Coke Zeros, eating at Taco Bell, sleeping, on the couch and watching Netflix to like full spiritual awakening of doing all those things, but small little baby steps. Take one habit at a time. I'm going to substitute cacao for coffee. Imagine that. Cacao has so many benefits. So it's just like taking small baby steps and not beating yourself up when you do, kind of just recognizing like there's the law of karma and the law of cause and effect, that if you do have, the taco and the pizza and you scroll Netflix, you are going to feel like shit the next day.
Yeah. I think it's all about awareness, right? So having that, even now, like, we're having that coffee, but like it's the awareness I'm having and bringing in and be like, okay, it's fine to have the coffee because I know that's not my daily routine, or, it's like there is a why, an intention. I think that's another thing, having an intention behind the things we do.
Oh, it's so important. Intentionality is huge. Do you put an intention into each class that you run?
Yeah, I actually do. I teach certain ways. Like, I teach more restorative, but at the same time, I also teach a lot of active classes. And so to go a little bit into that, keeping the body functional and healthy is so important. And like, all the way I'm teaching is with, basically it's myofascia integrated alignment. So you really work in, because again, it's the same thing. You have to see the body as a whole. You're not like, this is my arm, then the arm is like, like everything is connected, right? So the way I'm teaching is seeing the body as a holistic whole thing, not only one part of it, So I'm teaching with myofascia integrated alignment, where we're working in specific lines to really open and creating mobility and strength, and basically keeping the body as healthy as possible for as long as possible. At the same time, for me, philosophy and having an intention for each class is equally important, because one without the other doesn't work. So I always try to combine. And the way I said, or the way I structure my classes or plan my classes is really to feel it's so funny because for me it's really hard to think about a class the day before. So I need to get up. So when I teach 7:15, I literally get up at 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm like going on my mat and I'm feeling what's present today. That's how I need, like, this is how I cannot sequence it differently or feel differently, because I could feel something yesterday that I don't feel for today appropriate. So
I love it.
That's why it's like I need to do the 4 a.m. if I teach 7:15.
And this is what I would like for everyone listening to understand, something called embodiment, where if you are teaching, you must be walking the walk, right? And the fact that you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning before your 7 o'clock class, say what is present today is exactly it, right? Because you're a walking embodiment of the energy that's present in the space in that day, the intention. And our students are mirroring us all the time. So I'm like, it's a non-negotiable for me with my classes that I spend time clearing my field before I step in there. I owe them that.
Absolutely.
They're coming into this space and they're trusting me to hold them in a deep space, just like they are with you, right? And if you're not in that moment with them, your mind is somewhere else, you're not fully present, then what's the fucking point?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
What brought you to yoga?
I think in the first place, it was more curiosity. Actually, community is a big part of it. Another big philosophy for me and what I teach on my mat when I teach in a class, or when I teach, even when I lead a 200-hour training, that I'm like, no, stop doing endpoint yoga. You're not getting a certification from me if you reach with your fingers your right big toe. You don't get a certification. Like, how can you tune more into your body that you feel, where do I want to feel an opening? What's my intention in this pose? what I want to achieve, right? So I have stability, strength, and space, right? So I'm very lucky that I studied a lot with really good teachers like Ian Finn from Physiology. So the embodiment is such a big part, and I think that's what you realize once you get over the superficial layer. You realize, okay, this is what it's all about, and that then goes towards the community where you actually stay together. So what brought me to that was then once all that fades away, the people that stay are the ones that feel, and they are, they're just there.
What drew you to your teacher? What was it about that teacher, right? Because I think that's also, again, right there, becoming the lighthouse that's calling in the right people that are in resonance with their teaching. So what was it about him that made him special?
I've done my training with somebody else, which interestingly later on I figured out that she has also done advanced models and hours with him. So very interestingly, I started to follow Ian in Blissology probably a little a little bit before COVID. And I always wanted to do a training. And why was something back then I did it's over the screen. You can do and you feel a person, but it's not going to be the same as somebody sitting really in front of you and sharing the energy field, right? But back then I felt this person, there's so much love to give, so much joy. So I'm a very loving, enjoyable person too, right? So that was one thing, and I was like, oh, next to the fact that I think there are a lot of yoga teachers out there, and don't get me wrong, I think that is like a whole other conversation, how a lot of teacher trainings are factory based and it's just about money, and it's actually not a nice industry. So that's like the other thing. But Ian really truly pours from his heart, like truly. And so I ended up, fast forward, during COVID, he was stranded here too with his family, and I started to practice with him as I once figured out, oh my God, he's in Bali, right? And I did practice with him, and at one point I became more or less closer with his wife and then with him, and they asked me if I want to work for them as a trainings and retreats manager, and then I started to doing that, and then we became friends, and I like literally from that moment on assisted all the trainings and were present in everything. We did all the 200-hour trainings here teaching, and then I went to Canada. So it was really, really nice. And what really dropped me the first time when I saw him in person was, again, there is no such, we all have pain, okay? But if we allow the pain to be there, that's also when we allow the love to be there. And there is such a strong vulnerability of I am who I am, and I don't care if I cry leading this class, like in the end when we all broadcast and channel energy together. So his spirit is all about connection and community too. And that just got me. That's why we connected on such a deep level. Yeah, and still up on this point. Yeah.
And I'm sure that comes and influences you as a teacher trainer now and how you build that. So tell me about teacher training and what makes yours special. What makes you special?
Oh, in my 200-hour trainings, I'm still teaching Blissology principles. So you're still going to learn the same anatomical principles, where I'm really passionate about as well, because again, there's so much stuff out there in the market, but I really want people to understand, whether you want to be a teacher or not, I want you to know what's my intention behind a pose. Why am I doing this? Where do I want to feel something? So it comes back to embodiment, right? And on top of that, all the other things around the community aspect, that philosophy is really deep for me as well. So you're going to get a lot of philosophy because there are just so many ancient texts that they're a life lesson, and you can read the Bhagavad Gita 10 times and you're still gonna learn something new. And that's like, these open conversations are just the best. Like, as much as you learn as a student, as much I learn as a teacher, like, it's a never ending involving, right? So you're going on this journey of becoming a teacher, but at the same time you're going on this journey to really get to know yourself and to embody who you are in any layer within yourself. And I think that's really beautiful, and that's why I love to guide trainings and retreats, because you really get to know people and you really can help them to move through and to, foster them authentically. That's another big thing. What I would like, what I bring out in, or want to bring out in our 200-hour training of mine, is that you're not another copy. I don't need another. The world doesn't need another copy of Theresa. The world doesn't need another copy of Chelsea. Like, we need you, because every soul has a gift to share. That's another real big principle when I teach yoga. Like, man, you have a light, and this light is there. You can, like, whatever happens in your life, this light is there, it's still there. So nourish that light, share that gift you're having, because that is so precious, and that will ultimately light up all the other people around you. You don't even know what you can give. So instead of being busy, being a copy of somebody else, tune into yourself and feel who you are, so that you share authentically from your voice, from your heart, and you're gonna go out there. And whether you're gonna share that with your family, and even if you're never gonna be a teacher, you're still gonna share something. What you learned, you're still gonna share.
God, that's such a mic drop moment. It is so true. We don't need people trying to be everyone else. So when I teach in healing, I'm like, you're never going to heal like me. You're never going to move energy like me. I want you to find your gifts. I want you to listen to your voice. I want you to channel from your soul. I don't want you to listen to my class and then repeat what I say. When I speak, I don't even know what I'm saying half the time. It's just coming from my heart. And that's what I want. I want you to get to a point where you can speak from your heart and love someone so much that they are willing to go into those deep spaces and let the emotions move. Because like you said, like we don't need to be carbon copies of one another. How do you embrace your authenticity?
I think for me, I'm in a similar position than you. I do believe once you realize, when I am fully able to drop into who I am, when I can embody of who I am in any layer, right? Like, that can be emotional, that can be also physical, right? Like, when I can feel, now all my focus goes into my left finger, the tip of my finger, right? All these little things. Then you're not busy anymore up here, but you drop from here to here. And when you're here, that's when the real magic happens. And that's when you stand there, and you don't need to think. Like, it's the words you speak are not coming from here, they come from here. So all you do is really, you just let your mouth open and you just talk what you feel. Like, that's how I teach, right? And even today, like, when my student messaged me, I still think about what you said last night. I'm like, I sent him a message back. I'm like, what did I say? Because I don't remember, because I don't know. Generally, I don't know. And you might hear me sometimes saying same things on, like, facts, but energy things, I barely say the same things again, because that's what comes in the moment, right? And that makes it be raw and authentic.
And if you can drop from the head to the heart, which is, I believe, the journey of the soul, where all worlds meet, and you speak from that place of truth, there's nothing but truth there. Yeah. We are speaking a universal language that doesn't matter about your gender, where you're from, what you do, how much money you make. When you speak from your heart and you meet in the heart place, it resonates through every soul, no matter what they're going through, what they're experiencing in that moment, because it's truth. And I wish that we could all allow ourselves to drop into our heart spaces. But I think a lot of the world blocks their heart out of fear and pain. And it's cracking that heart open and just allowing people and giving a space. So you're creating a space in your class for people to be themselves. And that's a heart opener in itself. And just being an embodiment of somebody with an open heart shows the way.
I think it's a big part of is to lead by example. This is another big part of being yourself and leading from the heart, is that not everybody is always meant for you. Not everybody is always meant, like, you're not meant for anybody always, so your words will trigger some people because they might not ready to hear that, or that causes any discomfort or suffering, and that's okay. Whenever these people are ready, they'll come back, right? So I think being authentically yourself and living from a space of the heart does also mean that you're okay with people being like people dropping off because they feel you're too much, or they can't digest that information in this present moment just yet, right? And that's okay, but it never affects you as a teacher. That's also leading by example, that you're not placing anything that comes externally from people back towards yourself, you know? You just who you are. And the right people will be attracted to that message you broadcast out, and the right people will be attracted to the love you give. And in my case, that I'm passionate about making people feel the belonging. Like when you come to my class, I'm like every single class, I end up by saying, share a hug and a smile before you go, either to me or a stranger. Like don't like doesn't matter. And somebody asked me the other day, that's such a big statement. Like, I don't know if I would feel comfortable with that. I never thought about this before, because I'm feeling really comfortable with this. Because, you know, a hug is the embracement of love. Like in Chinese medicine, the meridians from the heart center run out through your hands, right? So you're like really giving your heart energy. So for me, that's just something very, very natural. But I get it, you know. I had a student once, and he sent me a message after going back to his home country. He sent me this long text, and one of the main messages was, I never knew how much I needed touch and warmth. That's why I'm doing this, you know, because I'm like, yeah, man, like this person's life is going to be changed.
Right.
Because this person's going to be like, if I need it, I start to give it to others, right? And I'm longing for this more. I want to be more in an environment, in a community where this is fostered, so I can really be in my heart and live from that place.
And it's interesting because I don't think that students necessarily always get what they're looking for, but they do always get what they need, because we're always getting that in every moment. And even that student that was able to speak up and say, hey, like, this made me uncomfortable. Well, look at that. You just owned your voice. You just owned your authenticity, and you came to me. And it's like, can you allow them to be fully in their expression and love them enough to, and humble yourself enough to be like, I'm sorry if that made you uncomfortable, or how can I make it more comfortable for you and not make it about you in that moment? Like even in my classes, sometimes I'll have somebody be like, that was so intense. You know, I didn't know how intense that was. And the screaming and everyone releasing around me is way too much. And I always will say after class, I'll pull them aside and I'll say, growing up, was there a lot of screaming for you? And then they're usually like, ugh, because what happened in the class was screaming was happening and their inner child shut down and wasn't able to receive anything. And the whole time, all they were thinking about is that noise. So it's the perfect trigger, an opportunity for healing on the other side of the class to be like, hey, look, let's work through this in another way, in another place where you can be in the center. Because every single person is going through something completely different. And whatever they're going through is their truth. Just because I'm experiencing life in this very open, loving way doesn't necessarily mean everyone is. But if they came into my class, there's a reason that they're there. And all I got to do is love them.
In the end of the day, as a teacher, and this is also what I always say to my students, I'm here to show you what you can do, but you have to feel in yourself if that's right or wrong for you, or if you feel that or not. But also, you know, it's so funny because this person who said that with me with the touch, like you can feel if somebody feels uncomfortable or comfortable, right? But all the people who felt uncomfortably, or at least I felt like it was uncomfortable in the beginning, all these people come back. And these people are the ones who are like after like a few weeks, exactly, after a few weeks, they're like, hug me first, good morning, and like biggest hugs. And that brings me so much joy, because that's what truly is. We have to remember, we are all the same thing. You are made out of the same stardust and the ocean, then the river, then the plants in the garden, the butterfly, the dog barking, running by. You're the same thing. You're the same thing. You're just in a different, like, outer version, right? And that's it. Once you realize we all the same, it's so much easier to allow this energy to flow and to be like, oh, this person goes through something similar. I can relate with this person. And collectively we can channel like an energy, right? And I think that's also why yoga, or at least for me, just when people come together and practice in a room, you create an energy. If same people doing the same things, vibrating on the same level. It's very powerful. It's very powerful. And that's why people leave in a space of clarity, in this
Right.
kind of nourishment, right?
Right. With the path, where do you see it going?
Especially for the path, I have a very clear vision. I really want people, I don't care the style you're teaching, because who am I to tell you what's right or wrong, right? What's universal truth? Your truth is your truth, and therefore I need to acknowledge it, and my truth is my truth, and that's nothing is right or wrong, right? So there are different styles, and that's okay. However, I like that people share the same values, and that's why all the people who work at the Path now, we're all on the same mission. The way you are for yourself, like sharing love, sharing a space of you belong here, you're heard, you're seen, you're acknowledged. Whatever you go through, you are worthy. That's a big, big part. You can be fully yourself. So all these values, every teacher has these values in a very strong way. So then the second thing is we will open a Searchala. I don't even know if you know that yet, but we will open a Searchala, and we will open the recovery. So I think about the Path more as a wellness center,
A healing
a
center.
healing space, exactly. For the Searchala, I want to integrate more of healing tools. So think about sound healing, yoga nidra, restorative practices. Think about inner child healing things. Think about hypnotherapy. Think about breath work. All these things I want to devote to the search space. I had a chat with another amazing person last week. She's relationship psychotherapist, but she's also doing all these authentic relating things. So she's doing mixed circles with men and women, and we had this beautiful conversation. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want for the space. How can we relate more to each other so we can understand each other more, so we can show more love and compassion on and off the mat? So
Yeah.
that's like a big part of what's coming, as well as the recovery then, to really nourish your body from the inside out, outside in. Why we connected the recovery is because we want the community to go there together, like that is a space of connection and not just another recovery. And I don't even want to use the word recovery, because what's recovery? We don't need to recover from anything. Like, we're gonna go there for to be in a place to detoxify our body while being supported with other people we love, so we can connect and we can relate with each other.
That's amazing. I think like a big part of, so when you're doing like the healing work, especially, so with yoga, you're doing a lot of physical work that's keeping you very in the body.
Yeah.
But when you're doing the healing work, it's a lot of, deep, you're going really into the brainstem, which almost feels out of body. Contrast therapy is what I recommend after every session, is to go in and just get in the sauna, get back in the body, let the body detoxify and sweat out what we just processed energetically. And honestly, allowing emotions, because I always get emotional in the sauna. And I never feel comfortable to let my emotions out in like a gym, So a place where we can have like emotional detoxification, where we're seen and loved. And it's like, come as messy as you can be. There's not one part of you we won't love. Cry in there. Let it out.
Exactly. A few days ago, we're having dinner with all the teachers, and I was like, I want to do movie night. Let's do movie night with everybody, all our students, all our teachers. So see, it's really the place of togetherness. I just want to have people there, that they have this space of belonging.
Yeah, and I think it's going to create the one thing missing from the Path now is like a place to hang out after class. It's like that. If we have that, I feel like a lot of people, they do, like after class, I'm usually running over 30 minutes with talking to all my clients and working through what they're going through. And like, I feel like if there was a place where you could just hang out and really connect and let people open up, I think we would also create more community amongst the different classes, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. Like if you're so only going to yin or you're only going to vinyasa, but then you go and you meet this epic teacher and you're like, oh, I want to try that. You know, he's really cool or she's great. And then you go and you may try something that may change your life because we get stuck in the,
absolutely.
Because I do the same thing every week. And for me, you know, I think yoga teacher training is on my list of things to do in the next couple of years because I think getting into the body is going to be really important. But for me, you're right. I do put yoga in the workout category. I don't think about yoga in that way, but I have my practices for getting there. But how cool would it be to have something physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think I do sound healing. Like I have a sound healing certification and I have a woman life coaching certification and Reiki certification. So I hosted holistic healing retreats for women before, one-on-one sessions, and you're going to combine all of these. And I think that's also why the direction we're going with the path is so beneficial because I've seen it in many women I guided in my past years.
There's nothing better than women's circles and women's healing when it comes together. I specialize in womb work. That's really what my medicine is, but it's really hard to do womb work in a 2-hour session, right? Like you need time and you need deep safety in the container. So it would be really cool to kind of, you know, bring that stuff in and bring teachers together to create workshops where it's like, you know, oh, you bring in this, you bring in the sound, you bring in, and we can create magic with more space. So I'm like, I think that's going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. Like, honestly, I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
When is it opening?
Probably maximum 2 months, I think, for the third space. And the sauna in this next few weeks, like we're just waiting for like the last little retouches.
Oh my God, that's so incredible.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Honestly, I'm like, oh, can't wait.
And your yoga teacher training, when is that launching?
So the next teacher training is November 3rd till 26th, as well as 3 yoga teacher trainings next year. So that's what we're going to do, 3 once in always February, March, July, August, and then 1 in November.
Okay.
Exactly.
Amazing. How many students do you usually take on?
I'd say a maximum of 20 because, again, I'm not big, like it's not a factory-based thing. I'm putting so much love in this, and it's funny because my partner said the other day to me, he's like, I'm not so sure if I can handle another preparation yoga teacher training because like that's what all I do is like I'm getting like soaked into the matrix of like all I want to share and what I want to do and writing the manual and like changing the manual again and all of these kind of things. But yeah, so coming back to the point, it's truly a family thing. It's not a factory thing. What I really like or what's important for me is as well that I actually do know almost everybody signing up for this training. And even if you inquire I had a woman, she actually joins now, she's from the States, and she sent a message, oh, I'm interested. I'm like, let's please go on a Zoom call. Why? Because I need, like, it's not about, I don't care. I don't want to sell you this training. I want that you know what you get and that we know what we get. Because in the end of the day, this is 20 intense days where you are there and you're just like you're going through this whole up and down thing, and you want to be sure that these people who sign up are also on your kind of energy level in terms of sharing same values. Coming back to this, it's so important to me. So I like to go on calls with people to simply feel into their presence and be like, yeah, this person fits and she will get out what I think she's asking for. Versus when somebody, like, I'm on a call and somebody's like, I want to do all of this, and then like I'm actually honest. I'm like, I think you should do a training there and there or somewhere else.
Right.
I'm really honest with this because it's like this is such a big thing. Like it's such a big thing, really, and I'm just,
It's really important the classes that you choose to take, the energy healings you choose to go to. The facilitator is very important, what they're embodied in, what their frequency is, what they're working through. And I think we have a level of radical responsibility when you become a teacher. You know, like I'm a shamanic Reiki master teacher. As a teacher, I'm forever a student, and I'm always learning. You know, like I'm watching people pump out trainings, and I'm like, how are you? It's not ethical, in my opinion, for somebody to go, oh, I did a 2-day breathwork facilitation and now I'm a teacher. Like, no, you're not. You know, my training is a year long to be a shamanic Reiki master teacher, and it's deep embodiment. And you're doing a one-on-one with me every week like it's 3 energy sessions a week minimum to be sitting and embodying that, so that when somebody comes into your space that I trained, I know that no matter what someone comes into the room with, you're going to be able to hold them. Because you're opening up, with energy work especially, you're opening up a black box. You have no idea what this person's been through, what their trauma is. And if you haven't held your own shit, don't you dare step in that room and open up a box bringing spirit in and not hold the container safely. Because this island is doing energy work in a very strange way. There's a lot of darkness going on around here, man. It's a wild time.
I'm so glad you're saying this, because honestly, I'm 100% with you. And I even, as a yoga teacher, you have so many certain different roles, right? So let's, like, even though I'm doing all the Reiki and coaching things on, like, as a yoga teacher, you are half of a physiotherapist, or it's meant to be. You know, you're like, your expectation is you be half of a physiotherapist, you're gonna be half of a psychologist, you're gonna be half of a storyteller, you're gonna, you see where this goes? So you have all these things. You're space holder. Doing a 200-hour training is the starting point. If you're really taking this path serious, it's your starting point to go on the way, and it's not the end destination.
No.
Because you just...
You're a beginner.
You just put your foot out there, you know?
You're a beginner. And it's okay to be a beginner. 100%. Can we be okay with being beginners?
Exactly.
It's okay.
Exactly.
It's okay. You don't need to be an expert in something you're not. I've been doing energy work for 12 years. 12 years. And I'm now just at a point where I can sit here and tell you that I can hold really crazy space. But you know who is holding that space? My guides that I work with every day. And everything is held in deep reverence, with deep respect for spirit, with deep reverence in ceremonial space. I'm holding space. I'm not doing a modality. And whatever the hell comes up in I may run Reiki. I may do myofascial release. I call it one thing, but whatever comes up and you hold it.
Yeah.
And you have to be embodied in that to hold that. And that doesn't happen in a 2-day breathwork certification or a 200-hour yoga class. Do you want to know why I want to do 200 hours? Not to be a yoga teacher, but to be able to hold that level of postures and movement to understand the body more, so that I can hold healing more. I don't want to be, I'm never going to be a yoga guru. That's not my thing. But to have that would be great for me. But you're going to stand there as a yoga teacher. Be embodied in the work. I think, be embodied. Exactly. And this is the big point about it as well. It's to be a beginner's mind. It's just, that's one of the best things you can have. There's so many things. I'm going to do all these trainings. Like, I just did a training with Dylan Werner, and it was like, I'm just getting into this whole myofascial integrated alignment, and I'm just like, this is so sick. I'm so stoked about this, right? But you just keep on learning. You never, like, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything, okay? Nothing.
So that's already a starting point. Then the second thing is, I think when it comes to 200-hour training, my main goal is to make you feel so embodied, or to make you so embodied that you feel into the pose, that you know the intention of the pose. Because when you know how a pose should feel like rather than look like, that's when you can share from a space of embodiment and somatics, and not just, somebody told me that the knee needs to be over the ankle, and then I ask you, but why? And you don't know. And this is actually, that's the thing as well. Like, there's so many yoga teachers, and I'm like, why are you doing this? And then you cannot answer me that, you know? So I'm always a big why. Like, I'm always like, so what's your intention behind this?
Exactly.
Let's see where we go. And from there I can, like, this is really a big place to go to, right? And that's what I love, to question everything. Why? And why are we doing that? And why are you feeling this way? And so on and so on. But anyways, so that's the same thing for the 200-hour training. When you know that's when you can start to share. And then there's this whole other aspect of holding space, and that's such a big learning curve as well. It's a lot about being present. Like, that's something I offer as well. All the people who graduate from the 200-hour training with me, I give them a community class for free. So basically they're teaching a class to the community for free at the Path. And then I go there, and if they want me, I go there and I do the class with them. And I give them feedback every single time they teach, even after graduating. And that's also, the mentoring that comes along with it. Because I want you to be a great teacher. I want you to be fully yourself and share what you learned and tap more and more into it. And with that, that's the same thing. What I observe is like holding space, also being fully grounded in your own presence. And I don't want to say proud, but be so grounded in who you are that you come onto the mat and you're like, I am Theresa, and this is what we do today, because I share from a place of my heart, and whether you love it or you don't, but this is what I have to offer as a guidance for you to take today. And once you do that, it changes the whole room, right?
Whole room, because the whole room feels safe being there.
Exactly.
And if the room feels, and I have gone to so many, energy classes where I can't drop in. And my body doesn't feel safe to drop into that space. So it's all about creating safe space, speaking from that heart space, and then humbling yourself enough to know, I don't know everything. I'm always, what I learned as a teacher? I'm forever a student. And whenever I do my Reiki teaching, I sit with Reiki 1. Again, I sit with Choku Rei for 3 weeks every time before I sit in a training to reacclimate myself with that field. It's my responsibility to be embodied in that when I teach you that, or otherwise I'm like everyone else. I have 2 students that I have this year too in my training. And you talk about like Master Shui, right? The Reiki founder, the master, who was initiated on top of a mountain shamanically, which is what I love so much about the shamanic path of Reiki. He was initiated by spirit because of his discipline. He taught 20 Reiki masters, 20. His one part, then the guy next to him, Hayashi, he trained 18. Takata trained 16 in their life. And those are the 3 gurus of Reiki. Yet here we are seeing classes of 40 Reiki teachers that are not embodied. And I'm sorry, I will say no. There are steps to coming in and being attuned to a frequency like that, because it is a power. Holding an energy frequency in you and pushing that through someone else's body is so powerful and can be so dangerous if you're not embodied in your work. And I'm fucking sick of the island running, I did a CAP certification, I'm just gonna press my fingers on their feet. I can't do it anymore.
No, I hear you.
Crazy. I'm like, you are not embodied at all.
Well, I guess it's like any kind of industry, and I think that's
unregulated, because we're unregulated.
Yeah. But this is like a huge conversation. But if you really think about it, all the coaching, all the yoga, any spiritual work, like all the same. Like there will always be people who do things for money rather than for like a deep feeling or for a purpose, right? For Dharma. And I kind of feel that's not okay, but I accept, this is just how the world is, right? And accept it. But then on the other hand, I'm like, there are a lot of people who are drawn then, like they look up something, like, right, they want to do a teacher training, or they want to do like a Reiki certification, and then still the money rules rather than energy. And that's something like where I'm triggered, especially because I'm like I have so many people being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do my 200-hour training with like soon, and I'm like, with who you doing? And they're like da 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 da, and I'm like, ah, and again I'm like, so what lead you to this decision?
And it's cheaper.
It's exactly.
And they could get me in next week.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper. And I'm like,
but the exchange of energy is equivalent to the level of embodiment that somebody is holding, or they wouldn't be like, I can only hold 2 clients a day. 2.
Yeah.
I can't work 8 hours a day anymore. I have 2 clients, one-on-one is enough.
Yeah.
And I can only do it 3 days a week. That's my max capacity.
Yeah.
I have to charge a lot for that, but it will change your fucking life.
And it's not even like, that's the whole other aspect, right? That you're true towards yourself. But then on the other side is, it's like people like have to come back to a space where, or should come back to a space where they're like, okay, actually I want to get to know somebody first before I decide that I'm going to do this based on external reasons, right? This is the difference. And I think this is so important as well, that people are signing up for coaching or for Reiki and for 200-hour trainings only based because they have good marketing and they have good...
So I want to delete my Instagram. I'm at the point now. I'm over my Instagram. I just want to be at the path. I want to shine my light there. I want the right clients to come, and I want to hopefully run Reiki trainings there. And just like as that evolves, and like I'm done marketing.
Yeah.
I'm not the $100,000 a month coach. Like, I don't want to be that. I honestly want to sit with spirit all day long and not even be on my freaking phone. But it's hard to build a business in that way. It's just, so we're trying to find the balance, right? And it's always hilarious. It's just, how do you find the balance?
Yeah.
And the only thing that I know, and I think the best way to end this incredible conversation, which I really think people will have a ton of value, is do your work from your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's because from that space, everyone wins. It's not about being bad or good. And honestly, the dark teachers that we do see that are doing this and making more money, they have their own karma that's coming, and they're showing us the way to go. Like, without them, we wouldn't know the right loving way. They have to exist so that we can exist. And then we just trust that if a student went that way, it's just, they have some things to work through that we can't save them from.
And that's, you know what, and it's okay too. We are all on this way in life, like this, you know, we all just trying to walk this path, right? We're going to take many detours in life, and that's fine. And that's part of the learning curve, right? Because we can grow by things that when things don't go the right way, right? And so like probably like you and myself, we've done many things in life that was not always, you know, the right things, or like, you know, signing up for this or that, and realizing, okay, this is actually what I not want. It's very interesting, and I think it comes back all what you said, leading from the heart, and also not only leading from the heart, but in each and every moment, if you're a teacher or not, to stay present and to listen. Is this good for me right now? And how can I lead with more compassion, with more kindness and more love in this world, whether again I'm a teacher or I'm just with my friends and family, or probably a stranger in the supermarket.
For anybody that's looking to work with Theresa, she has amazing classes at the Path. She's got 3 yoga teacher trainings in 2026, 1 coming up the end of 2025. So reach out to her. Where can they find you?
You can find me on the Path Instagram, or the Path Yoga Center. Just Google thepathyogascenter.com. So you'll find me there, or on my personal Instagram, Theresa Schiessl. It's funny because nobody can speak my last name, Schiessl. So I just got renamed to Schiessl.
I love that so much.
Or just come by to the studio, send an email, and reach out.
Yeah, come see us at the Path.
Thank you.
Here's what I hope you're taking away from this episode. Number 1, a trip to the Path is in your near future. Number 2, a deeper understanding of what it means to be an embodied teacher and why that matters so deeply in your healing journey. Number 3, how conscious community and safe, sacred spaces can support transformation on every level: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And number 4, how inspiration to explore healing beyond the mat and to follow what truly resonates in your body and soul. Because remember, you guys, healing isn't just something we do in moments of crisis. It's a lifelong, beautiful return to wholeness. And that journey is always more powerful when it's supported by space, intention, and an amazing community. And that's exactly why I'm so excited to share that the Path is expanding with the opening of our brand new healing shala, a space strictly devoted to deep, therapeutic, and transformative healing practices. Whether you live here in Bali or you're just passing through, the Path is truly one of the most powerful and heart-centered healing venues here in Canggu. And every teacher here is deeply committed to their craft, and I truly believe it's a must visit on your healing journey. So if today's episode sparked something within you, and if you're feeling that pull to dive deeper, I would love to invite you to come work with me. You can find me at the Path holding Kundalini classes, inner child healings, moon ceremonies, and more. And I'm also about to launch Remembering Her, which will be a sacred women's circle dedicated to healing the heart of the feminine through deep ritual womb clearing cacao and sisterhood. It's going to be absolutely magical. And if you're not in Bali, don't worry. Our online offerings are always available wherever you are in the world. Plus, stay tuned for Shamanic Reiki Level 1, a powerful initiation into energy healing and spiritual empowerment, which will be available online soon. If you're ready to liberate your bliss, break free from the wounds of the past, and reclaim the truth of who you are, know you're not alone on this path. Until next time, remember, your inner world creates your outer reality. Trust the process, honor your path, and keep walking home to yourself.